Hey everybody, welcome back to the Stuff Between My Ears. I'm Kyle Berry. Today we're going to be answering the question of evil. It's a big issue, and so this is going to be mostly generalized, but it's a big topic and it's an important one and it needs to be addressed. It's not the theological problem of evil, it's the political one. So I hear excuse me. I hear people say, like, well, who are you going to vote for? Like, well, I'm going to vote Trump, or I'm going to vote DeSantis, or I'm going to vote for this person or that person. And sometimes, like, I'm going to vote for Biden. And as Christians, who we vote for matters. And we ought to be voting for people who reflect our values and who are going to uphold God-centered laws. And so sometimes, it comes down to, especially in higher races, federal races in particular, like, president or senator, the field gets narrowed so broadly, and the two options that you have, they don't really reflect, very closely with what you believe. But you gotta vote for one, right? And so in the race for president this year, the same question pops up, because I press people, and it's very plain that Trump does not reflect holistic Christian values. It's very easy to point that out. So what people often say is like, well, he's the lesser of two evils because he's not Biden, he's not the left. And I am going to push that question to the max, because I think we are all being hoodwinked here. I know we are. Because as I think about this question, there is no lesser of two evils. What do I mean? So I've already made videos, and I always try to highlight whenever I see it, when Trump or MAGA Incorporated or whoever's trying to fake it on the right as the right. I always try to point out when they're doing that, when they're being establishment, when they're being uniparty, when they're being holding leftist positions. And so I made videos about Trump and how he's a part of the uniparty. I've made videos about how the GOP and Democrats and the left are just part of one big conglomerate who have the same end goals. They just don't agree on how to get there. Excuse me. So the purpose of this video is not to hash all that out again or go into great detail about how they are, but the point is to just show where they're the same, which I think is pretty much everywhere, and then ask, what are we doing here? So before we go any further, let's just lay down our baseline. Democrats and the left hold positions that are the same as the rhino establishment swamp GOP, that are the same as Trump. And it's like, what? Isn't Trump anti-establishment? Isn't Trump, he's the outsider? And no, I've shown that. I've shown where Trump took money from FTX, where he was getting bankrolled from PACs that were funded by left-leaning PACs, where he's done all this stuff. But let's take a look at, policies. Think about policies that Trump holds or he's done, and let's ask ourselves, is he different than what the left is? All right. So let's start with the big one: abortion. Is Trump pro-life? Nope. Trump wants abortion. He thinks it's okay up to 15 weeks. He doesn't want to abolish abortion. He thinks it's okay if mothers kill their kids. Like, that's fine to him. You say, oh, but Trump appointed judges. And because he appointed the judges, specifically the Supreme Court justices, then we got Roe v. Wade, the most evil, case in the United States history, overturned. And to that I say, yes. Yes, he did. Which has resulted in exactly how many states abolishing abortion in the Union? 0. 0. There are 0 states in which abortion is abolished. And it's not for lack of trying. People have tried. In states like Louisiana, where the GOP came in and squashed bills of abolition that would prohibit abortion. There are more abortions being performed in Louisiana now than there were under Roe v. Wade. And that's just the fact. Is that they don't want to end it. Trump doesn't want to end it. The GOP doesn't want to end it. Dems definitely don't want to end it. They just disagree on the semantics of how to get there. What about, let's see something else this Trump was good on, the border. You say, but Trump's going to secure the border. He's going to build the wall. Well, he didn't build the wall. In fact, Biden is building the wall right now. It's not getting heralded like it did under Trump, but Biden's building the exact same wall that Trump started. While Trump did throttle back on the number of people coming into the country during his presidency, he didn't get rid of, it took almost 3 years to get that throttled, but then he didn't get rid of anybody. Everybody that came in under Obama, which was in the millions, they're still here. They didn't get deported. They didn't get sent back. They're still here. And if he wins re-election, the 8 million that have come in under Biden, they're still going to be here. It's not going to change anything. Even if he throttles back on, turns the tap off a little bit, it's not going to change anything. You're still going to have, 20 plus million people in this country who are going to be voting within the next decade. Excuse me. Trump did things about, like talking about, well, let's, classify the cartels as terrorist organizations so that we can really go after them hard. Never materialized. The only thing that changed was he just temporarily slowed, and then as soon as a Democrat wins, the spigot's going to come off, the flow's going to go right back on. It's not going to be permanent. It's not going to last. And that's the hallmark of Trump policies, is none of them are built to last. They are done through the executive order of the pen. They're not done through Congress, and there's no permanency to it. What about Ukraine? Honestly, I don't know what he would do on Ukraine, because the situation in Ukraine is so bad. They've lost so many men and so many arms, and we've just been throwing money at it every chance we can, and it's such a mess. Russia has a stranglehold on Ukraine. It's like a anaconda just wrapped around it, and honestly, I don't know what anyone would do right there. The only way to end it is to make a whole bunch of concessions to Putin, which, could happen, but I don't even know if Trump would be interested in doing that, because he was selling arms to Ukraine when he was president too. So I'm not even sure he wants to get out of Ukraine. Excuse me. What about the economy? This is the classic Republican. Well, the economy's gonna get better. We had cheaper gas. Yeah, you had cheaper gas. But Trump added $7 or $8 trillion to the deficit. He passed the huge COVID stimulus that we didn't need. All you had to do is keep the country open, and we would have been fine. But instead, they closed the country down, passed all this COVID stimulus that was used and abused twice over, and added nearly like a third or something to, it was like the total national debt. Speaking of COVID, he's not been too great on COVID either. Trump still parrots himself as the grandfather of the jabs, like old the king of the Fauci-ouchies. Gave the man a medal on his way out the door. Gave Fauci a medal for his grand work with this terrible vaccine that has caused a whole bunch of harm, messed up a whole bunch of people, and didn't do anything to actually help cure COVID. But thank God we got him. What would we have done without him? And you say, well, Trump got duped. No, he didn't. Trump had plenty of people in his ear telling him not to do that. He had attorney generals of surgeon generals of certain states that were telling him different, that were doing different. They were getting different results from the lockdowns and the mandates that he was passing. But did he change? Nope. He waited a long time to lift federal lockdowns. And so when the next little crisis comes along, which is going to come along, the overlords at Davos have already been talking about a black swan event, whatever that is, because black swan events are supposed to be surprises and unforeseen, but we can foresee it. So anyway, can't make it up. So when the next crisis happens and Trump is president, what's he gonna do? He's gonna cave. That's what he likes to do. And he's done it once. He's gonna do it again. He had Dr. Scott Atlas in his ear, telling him, yeah, no, we should do this X, Y, and Z, which was different from what Fauci was saying. And the NIH, and who did he go with? Fauci and the NIH. And who was right? Scott Atlas. And has Trump offered any repentance on that issue? None whatsoever. All right, last one. What about to the trans? Huh? Surely the LGBTQ mafia? Huh? Surely, we see, all the riots when George Floyd died in the summer of love of 2020, right? Surely Trump did good on that? Nope. Trump is A-okay with people transing themselves. When asked if you can know that men are men and women are women, Trump's response was, I don't know, maybe, That's unacceptable, disqualifying from the get-go. And then during all of the riots, during Floydapalooza, Trump didn't lift a finger to establish order anywhere. I seem to vaguely recall that he fired a bunch of tear gas and cleared a crowd in front of the chapel in D.C. and walked over there and held up a Bible. Like, yeah, law and order. Brilliant. And in every single one of these things, Trump is exactly where the left is. He's swinging way left. And he's attacking people who are on the right. He backs people who are on the left. He attacks people who are on the right. Like Bob Dole, like Thomas Massie, like loads of other America First candidates who lost and excuse me. And so there's no difference between what Trump holds and what the left holds. I fail to see any distinguishment there. Now you might say, well, the left hates Trump. Yeah, they do. They hate Trump. They hate MAGA, they hate Republicans. And so what's the answer there? Like, well, we'll vote for him because the left hates him. No. That's not the reason. For the left, you're not understanding the left. For the left, the issue is never the issue. James Lindsay always says this. The issue is never the issue. The issue is revolution. Or there is only revolution. They have to hate something. They have to have revolution. The issue is never the issue. It was not the issue with George Floyd. The man could have died any way possible. Didn't matter if Derek Chauvin had shot him, if he had strangled him, if he had just... However George Floyd died, that was going to be... The issue was not that. The issue was revolution and everything that came after that. The rioting, the looting, the burning, the sacking. The sacking of American cities. That was the issue. They have to hate Trump. They have to hate the GOP. So, excuse me. I would love to hear your thoughts. Like, I would love to have a reason to vote for Trump. Because, look, when you vote for Trump, you're voting for the GOP. You're voting for his bad policies, but you're voting for the GOP. The establishment that just, is content with losing and putting forward these crappy candidates. I got a little ahead of myself. You're rubber stamping the Ronna McDaniels and the Lindsey Grahams, who, by the way, were super excited that Trump won in Iowa. Which, ironically, is a little side note. Coming out of the exit polling, the people who are more likely to watch Fox News voted for Trump in way higher numbers than people who are not. And that's basically by age. So, something to think about. Fox News may be the biggest Trump super PAC ever. But that's neither here nor there. I'm getting on my soapbox here. Let me get back on the point. When you're voting for Trump, you're rubber stamping what the GOP is doing right now in putting forward as failed candidates. They've lost. They should have had massive wins in the Senate and in the House in 2022, and they didn't. They fell short. They fell short in special elections. They are failing all around, and they're happy with it. Nothing's changed. The same people who were in charge in 2016 and 2018 and 2020 and 2022, they're still there. They're still there. They think they're doing a great job. And when you vote for Trump, you're telling them, hey, you're doing a great job. All right? So now, let me ask the question. Why should we vote for Trump? He doesn't hold anything that the left doesn't hold. He's not a lesser of two evils. It's just evil and evil. One is just going to get you there slightly bit faster than the other one. Excuse me. So what do you do? I don't know how Robert Kennedy Jr. is going to do. Independent candidates have historically not done very well. Robert Kennedy is poised to do better than most, it seems. But assuming that he goes the way of most independent candidates, we're just going to have two choices. And as Christians, I think the number one enemy of the nation is not the left, it's the GOP. Because we know what the left is. The left is revolution. That's what they want. But the GOP, they pretend to be against the left. And they're not. They're snakes. And so I think that we as Christians need to send a message to the GOP and make it hurt, because we're gonna have to be a little bit sacral. Yeah, and I hate saying that, but we need to pray. One, we need to preach the gospel and pray for the wild move of the Spirit, and that people en masse would turn to Christ. And then we're going to have to be a little sacral, because the GOP is not going to reform itself. They like where they're at. They like what they're doing. They like being leftist on the right. They like being war hawks. And so I think to make it bite and make them lose in ways where the Koch brothers and all the people with money go, hey, we're doing something wrong, to get their attention, and if the general election is Biden and Trump again, vote Biden. Because when the exit polling comes out and the GOP looks at the little rap sheet and says, wow, not only did we lose elections, but people who are registered Republicans are voting for the other side because we're not representing their values, you're going to have to make it hurt. In this cycle, we can do that because there is no lesser of two evils. That's a lie. It's a facade. It's an illusion. There is no lesser of two evils. It's just evil option number 1 and evil option number 2. That's it. Now there is a third option. A third consideration. Perhaps as evangelicals, and I use that term so loosely because everybody says evangelicals like they're Christians. When evangelicals, it is a lump sum of everybody from Catholics to Mormons to Reformed to non-Reformed to the Word of Faith, charismatics. And I think Trump's spiritual advisor was, I forgot her name. Oh, shoot, that's going to bother me. But anyway, super popular Word of Faith preacher who got a vision, a word of the Lord, and was like, this is the Son of God, talking about Trump. It's like, holy crap. Anyway, back to my point. The third option, the third consideration, is that maybe evangelicals, these people, do reflect your values. You are okay with abortion. You are okay with war hawking in Ukraine and laundering billions of dollars out over there. You are okay with letting in all kinds of illegals into your country. You are okay with increasing the federal debt exponentially. Maybe we're okay with all that. In which case, keep voting for them, because these people are representing us well. That's just F2 mayors. Stay savvy.